Billionaire's blind date took a heartwarming turn when she revealed her incredible hidden identity. The diner was buzzing, filled with the comfort of sizzling bacon and the chatter of everyday people. Sarah wiped down a table, her back aching, but she didn't mind. This was her life, grinding for her daughter, Mia, and making ends meet in their cramped, aging apartment just a few blocks away. The familiar smell of coffee filled her senses, grounding her in the moment. But little did she know that today, her life was about to take an extraordinary turn. Jack walked in, his designer clothes radiating privilege. The chatter hushed as all eyes turned to him. He was charming, with a smile that could light up the room. But when he caught Sarah's gaze, an electric connection sparked. She welcomed him warmly, her radiant smile masking the weight of her sleepless nights and burdens. As they exchanged pleasantries, the stark contrast between their worlds became glaringly evident. Even Jack's innocent questions felt too far removed from her reality. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The beloved owner of the diner, a local war veteran, clutched his chest and collapsed behind the counter. Panic spread like wildfire. Sarah didn't hesitate. She sprinted to his side, her heart pounding in rhythm with the frantic shouts of customers. "Someone call 911. She shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. Jack stood frozen for a moment, shocked by the unfolding scene. But then he pulled out his phone, helping to dial emergency services as Sarah did chest compressions. The patrons gathered around, watching, holding their breaths. In that moment, Sarah was the lighthouse amidst the storm, steady, fearless. Jack's admiration for her blossomed. He had never witnessed someone act with such bravery. Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and felt her heart drop. A text from Mia's school: "We need to talk about Mia. She's being bullied." The weight of motherhood crashed down. Sarah fought to keep her composure. She couldn't let fear overpower her in front of Jack. "Is everything okay?" Jack asked, concern etching his features. Sarah forced a smile. "Just my daughter," she replied, but her heart ached. The truth was, she felt utterly alone in raising Mia. Before they could delve deeper, Jack received a call from his family's business, demanding his attention. Tension swirled in the air, as he struggled between defending the world he knew and embracing the raw beauty of Sarah's strength. "I'm sorry, I have to take this," he muttered, stepping back and breaking the moment's intensity. As he turned away, Sarah gathered her thoughts, searching for the right words to express herself. "You know, my father was a local hero," she finally said, her voice filled with emotion. "He spent his life serving this community." The diner buzzed with whispered reactions. Jack turned back, intrigued. That revelation struck him like lightning. The definition of success shifted in his mind as he saw the courage in Sarah's eyes. It felt like a passage, a bridge between worlds he had never thought to cross. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Jack couldn't shake off Sarah's words as they shared dreams, hopes, and fears while bonds forged between them. It felt electrifying but fractured at the edges. Just when they thought they found a connection, fresh doubts bubbled up. What does love mean in a world divided by wealth? Would his family, and the business waiting for him, understand? As the diner calmed down and the reality seeped back in, Jack's phone buzzed again. The weight of the call bore heavy on his mind. The ticking clock echoed his thoughts. Would he choose to step into a world that was foreign yet filled with hope, or would he retreat to the comfort of what he knew? The ultimate question lingered in the air, echoing against their disparate realities. can true love endure amidst the divisions of society? The answer hung in the balance, each heartbeat promising a choice yet to be made. Jack stepped outside, the frigid air a stark contrast to the warmth he'd felt inside the diner. His thoughts swirled like autumn leaves caught in the wind. The emergency call had shaken him, but it was Sarah's courage and her connection to her father that truly rattled his core. He stood there, lost in the moment, grappling with a decision that felt monumental. His family had always emphasized the values of security and wealth. But in that small diner, watching Sarah fight for the man who had dedicated his life to the community, he felt a pulse of something real, something that seemed to echo in the depths of his heart. In the diner, Sarah finished explaining the situation to the paramedics, her hands still trembling. A nearby customer handed her a napkin, which she accepted with a grateful nod, dabbing her forehead. She turned to the crowd, a mix of familiar faces, and found them echoing her exhaustion, admiration, and relief. While they had been mere spectators to her courage, each of them had a story rooted in their struggles. "Can you believe she did that?" a waitress whispered to her colleague, awe in her voice. "I would be panicked. Right? Makes my worries seem so small," the other replied. Unbeknownst to Sarah, she was becoming the talk of the diner, a symbol of resilience amid everyday worries. Yet, beneath her smile lay a shadow, a reminder of Mia's struggles, the bullying she faced at school. She sat down in her favorite booth, heart heavy with worry, staring at the simple ketchup bottle in its usual spot. Would she be able to protect her daughter the same way she had fought for the diner's owner? As Sarah wrestled with her thoughts, Jack re-entered the diner, visibly shaken but determined. He had made his decision, one that rippled outward with hope. The buzz around the room faltered momentarily as patrons noticed him, but he was locked on Sarah, his gaze unwavering. "Can I join you?" he asked, his voice breaking through her haze. "Sure," she said, her heart responding before her mind could catch up. The warmth of his presence ignited a flicker of courage inside her. "Everything okay?" Jack nodded, taking a deep breath. "I wanted to check if you're all right and to see if we could talk. About what you said your father." Sarah's eyes widened as she tilted her head slightly, unsure of where this conversation might lead. "Why is that important to you?" "Because," he hesitated, searching for the right words, "because I think your story matters. And I hope you know that you're doing something amazing for Mia, being her rock." Tears pricked at her eyes. His understanding of her struggles felt like a lifeline. "I'm trying my best. But sometimes it's hard, you know? I feel like I'm just pushing against a wall." "No one should feel alone in that fight," Jack said, his voice steady and warm. "And I promise, I'll try to make sure you're not alone anymore." In that moment, vulnerability washed over them both, clearing the fog that divided their worlds. The fears and expectations faded into the background, replaced by a newfound connection, raw, real, and ready to be explored. But just as Sarah was about to respond, the bell above the diner door jingled again, and a familiar face entered. It was Mia, her expression clouded with worry as she scanned the room until her eyes landed on her mother. "Mom!" she called out, her tone anxious. Jack's gaze drifted to Sarah, who felt a mix of dread and urgency. The universe was shifting again, and just as they were on the brink of something beautiful, new challenges loomed large. What would Mia think of this unexpected relationship? Would she accept Jack? Would the walls Sarah had built to protect her daughter hold strong against this emerging connection? Sarah, Jack's voice barely cut through the din, filled with questions. As Mia rushed over, the conversation they'd nearly had clung to the air, heavy with potential, uncertain and shimmering against the possibility of a future neither had imagined. What would come next as they all navigated the complexity of love, acceptance, and healing? Mia's footsteps echoed on the diner's tile floor, each step filled with youthful urgency and concern. Sarah's heart sank as her daughter approached, the sparkle in her eyes dimmed by unspoken worries. She had fought fiercely to shield Mia from the storms of the world. Now, it felt like the clouds were gathering once more. Mom! Mia exclaimed, reaching their booth. Her gaze darted between Sarah and Jack, trying to make sense of the moment. Are you okay? I saw the ambulance outside. I'm fine, sweetheart. Really, Sarah said, her voice soothing, but a spark of anxiety lingered in her chest. There was something about Jack's presence that felt comforting, yet she had no idea how to navigate this new dynamic with her daughter. Mia's expression softened as she studied her mother, but then her focus flickered back to Jack, curious and cautious. Who's this? I'm Jack, he introduced himself, offering a kind smile. I was just checking on your mom after the incident. She was incredible back there. Mia's brow furrowed slightly. Incredible at what? Just helping Mr. Thompson. He's going to be okay, Jack explained, trying to ease the tension with casual confidence. But there was so much more to say, feelings not yet formed into words. Really? Mia's expression began to brighten, and Sarah felt a twinge of relief. In that moment, watching her daughter soften, Sarah knew this was a pivotal point. It was time to be honest about her life, her struggles, and the vulnerability they all faced. Yes, really, Sarah agreed, taking a deep breath. Jack's been very supportive today. I think we might even become friends. The word friend hung gently in the air, but Mia's eyes narrowed skeptically. Friends? Just like that? Mom, you said it's important to be careful about who you let in. Are you sure that's a good idea? Mia's voice, filled with concern, felt like a mirror reflecting Sarah's own fears about opening her heart to new possibilities. Sweetheart, I know it's a lot, Sarah said, her heart racing a little at the thought of old patterns trying to seep back in, but I also believe in taking chances in connection. I want you to be happy too, you know. Mia shifted in her seat, her fingers fiddling with the edge of the table. I just don't want you to get hurt again. Jack could see the worry etched on Mia's young face. He felt the weight of that concern, recognizing the sacred bond between mother and daughter. Mia, I promise I'm not here to create any trouble. Your mom is strong, he said gently. But everyone needs a little support sometimes. Wouldn't you agree? Mia hesitated but then nodded, though her eyes searched for any sign of insincerity. Okay, but I'm keeping an eye on you, she warned, a mix of playful defiance and genuine concern bubbling beneath her youthful bravado. A light laugh escaped Jack, and he felt a surge of warmth toward both of them. That's fair. I'd expect nothing less from you. Sarah's heart swelled with affection for her daughter. Mia, thank you. Your love means everything to me. She glanced at Jack, who showed a gentle understanding of the situation. Maybe this was the beginning of something beautiful after all. As they settled into a fragile equilibrium, Rachel entered the diner, waving. I heard the news and rushed right over. How's everyone holding up? Their eyes turned toward the bustling entrance, but as Rachel approached, Sarah felt a twinge of panic. How much of their private conversation would slip away into the public eye? Would the warmth and healing Jack had offered withstand the storm of outside opinions? Suddenly, Mia's voice broke through, Mom, can we talk about the science project I have to do? Her words sparked a sense of normalcy that felt like a lifeline. Sarah smiled, grateful for the distraction. Of course, let us figure it out together. But deep inside, she knew the questions and choices still lingered. Would she have the strength to move forward? To navigate this brave new connection while ensuring her daughter felt secure? Could they find solidarity and trust together as a family? As laughter erupted from Rachel's boisterous entrance, an uneasy anticipation hung over the table. What would this afternoon reveal for the three of them? And could they truly embrace the possibilities that lay just beyond the edge of fear? Rachel slid into the booth across from Sarah and Mia, her eyes bright and wide with excitement, completely unaware of the emotional currents swirling among them. You won't believe what I heard, she declared, laughter dancing in her voice. Greg from the bakery might actually start offering gluten-free pastries. Can you imagine? Mia chuckled, but her smile was fleeting. She stole a glance at her mom, hoping to gauge Sarah's mood. The worry in Mia's eyes didn't go unnoticed by Rachel, who quickly sensed something deeper was at play. "Hey, is everything all right?" Rachel leaned closer, tilting her head. "You both look like you just dodged a bullet." "I'm fine," Sarah reassured her, gesturing casually, as if to sweep away the tension resting on the table. "Just having a conversation about a few things." Mia interjected. "We're talking about the science project. I want to build a volcano, and Mom's going to help." The enthusiasm was there, but it didn't quite reach Sarah's eyes. They were clouded with thoughts battling within her. Was it too soon to let someone like Jack into their lives? Rachel's keen perception caught the unspoken words, and she shot Mia a questioning look. "A volcano? That sounds great. Can I help? I haven't made a volcano since middle school." Just then, a soft voice drew their attention as the waitress arrived with steaming mugs of coffee. Jack had taken the liberty of ordering them each a drink, an unexpected kindness that stirred a flicker of warmth in Sarah. "That's my favorite part of school projects, getting messy," Jack chimed in, smiling at Mia. "I remember once we used too much baking soda, and it exploded everywhere. It was a disaster, but one of the best days. You'll have fun, I promise." Mia's initial demeanor softened, but her guard remained just slightly raised. "I hope so. But if it blows up, I'm not taking the blame." As laughter filled the space, Sarah felt a sliver of hope peek through her anxieties. Maybe this was how life could be filled with laughter, connection, and maybe even love once more. But then the moment shifted. Rachel's expression turned serious as she leaned toward Sarah. "You know, if you need to talk, I'm here for you, right? I can see you're still carrying a lot." The laughter in the booth faded, leaving a tentative silence. Sarah felt exposed, her defenses unraveling. She wanted to confide in Rachel, to share her worries about Jack, the past, the unpredictability of opening up her heart. But the words escaped her like the steam rising from her coffee. "Thanks, Rach," she finally said, her voice slightly shaky. It's complicated. I want me and Mia to be okay, to feel safe." Jack observed the shift in atmosphere, sensing the weight of Sarah's words. "You're not alone in this. If you ever want to talk, just know I'm here for both of you," he added earnestly, making eye contact with Mia, who nodded lightly but continued to study him closely. A moment of quiet understanding passed between them, an unspoken agreement to tread carefully but not fearfully. Suddenly, a loud crash from the kitchen burst through their bubble. Plates clattered to the floor, and a shadow swept by the service window. Laughter erupted from other patrons around, and Sarah felt a brief wave of anxiety but let it pass like the steam from her mug. "Looks like the kitchen is as crazy as our conversations," Jack joked, trying to lift the mood back up. As they all chuckled, Sarah's thoughts flickered, her heart still juggling the heavy ball of uncertainty and hope. Did she dare to let herself trust Jack fully? What if this moment was just a passing cloud, masking a storm ahead? "Mom," Mia's voice pulled her back, "do you think we could decorate our volcano with glitter? It'd be super cool." "Yes," Sarah said, her heart warming at the image of glimmering colors amidst the turbulence. "That'll make it special." With renewed energy, they moved together toward plans about volcanic eruptions and sparkles brightening their lives. The lingering questions would have to wait. For now, they focused on creating something unconventional yet beautiful. As Rachel pulled together ideas and Jack jotted down notes, Sarah couldn't help but feel something shift inside her. The cloud hadn't fully cleared, but maybe, just maybe, the sun was trying to break through. And then it hit her, they were all a little broken, pieces of a puzzle scattered. How could they fit together if they never took the chance to try? Just when Sarah thought they were picking up steam, a text from an unknown number lit up her phone. Heart racing, she glanced down at the message. It read simply, "We need to talk. Now." Her breath caught. Who was it? And what did they need to talk about? Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the screen. The message felt like a rock dropped into a calm pond, sending ripples throughout her mind. Who could it be? The unknown sender sent a chill down her spine. Mom? Mia's voice pulled her back. Are you okay? Rachel leaned in, her eyes narrowing with concern. What's wrong? She glanced at the phone, then back at Sarah. There was a protective urgency in her tone. It's nothing, Sarah said, forcing a smile as she tucked her phone away. The last thing she wanted was to spiral or draw Mia into her worries. But the weight of the message lingered. Jack seemed to sense the tension. If it's bothering you, you can always share. I know things can feel overwhelming, he offered gently. Sarah nodded, grateful for Jack's kindness. But her mind was a storm of suspicions. Was it an old friend? Someone from the past? Or worse, someone from her past she hoped to forget. Okay, let's talk volcanoes. She declared, trying to shift the focus before her thoughts consumed her entirely. What color do you want the lava to be, Mia? Orange, of course. And we could use some black rocks for the base. Mia animatedly replied, taking the bait. Sarah watched her daughter let the subject whisk her away, and she felt a sliver of relief. If she could help Mia craft a vision of joy, maybe it would help ground her too. They tossed ideas back and forth, colors and materials flying like sparks in the cafe. But even as the laughter bubbled around them, the weight of the text still nestled in her throat. For all the joy that was present, the feeling of impending dread was just beneath the surface, ready to bubble over into a full-blown eruption of its own. Do you want to come over later and get started? Mia asked, her big eyes hopeful. Of course. We'll make it epic. Sarah beamed, but the cheerfulness in her voice felt forced. She could not shake the feeling that something was lurking just beyond the door. As the conversation drifted toward which snacks to prepare for their volcanic adventure, Sarah caught Rachel's eye. The unspoken worry remained, binding them with an invisible thread. Rachel raised an eyebrow, silently urging Sarah to speak about whatever was troubling her. At that moment, the laughter faded away into a hum of background chatter, leaving only their shared look of understanding. Just as Sarah opened her mouth to respond, her phone vibrated again. This time, it was a call. The name on the screen made Sarah's stomach drop, Eric. Her ex-husband. The clock seemed to stop. Why was he contacting her now? Mia looked up at her, curiosity mixed with concern. Mom? You alright? Yeah. Sarah forced the words through clenched teeth as she stared at the screen. She hesitated, feeling the weight of all they'd been through. Did she have the strength to answer, or should she just let it go to voicemail? Her heart thudded loudly in her ears. Jack noticed. Hey, if that's someone you need to talk to, I can step out for a minute. Don't, Rachel said softly, her voice holding Sarah steady. You can handle this. Taking a deep breath, Sarah picked up the call. As the ringing sounded in her ear, she felt exposed, fraying at the edges. Hey, she finally said, trying to keep her voice steady. Sarah, it's me, Eric's voice came through the line, heavy and serious. Something shifted in Sarah's chest. What do you want? I need to talk about Mia. As his words settled like a dense fog around her, Sarah felt the world spin. Who knew what Eric wanted after all this time? Did she have the strength to face this unexpected storm head-on? And as they sat, Rachel and Jack watching closely, Sarah took one more deep breath. This could change everything. What would Eric reveal? Would it send her spiraling, or would it be the moment of clarity she desperately needed? With all eyes on her, uncertainty swirled like the steam from her coffee. Would she rise to the challenge, or fall apart? Sarah? Eric's voice was a cautious whisper on the line, cutting through the tension hanging heavily in the cafe. Her heart raced again, but this time, it was laced with something sharper: anticipation. What about Mia? She asked, her voice tight, eyes darting to Jack and Rachel, who were now leaning in, eager to catch every word. We need to meet, he said, the urgency palpable. There are things happening. I can't explain over the phone. Why now? Sarah pressed, feeling a mixture of anger and fear bubbling within her. You haven't spoken to me in years, and now you want to meet? Is this about money? Are you trying to pull something? No. It's not about money. It's about Mia, he insisted, his tone firm yet strained. I swear, Sarah. Please just listen. She clenched her jaw, grappling with the urge to hang up. How could he wade back into their lives like this? You had your chance. You made your choices. Mia deserves to know, Eric shot back, the conviction in his voice contrasting sharply with Sarah's rage. That simple phrase, Mia deserves to know, punched her in the gut. What does that mean? She barely managed, the question escaping before she could trap it. Meet me tonight, at the park by our old spot. Please. Just give me this. I promise you won't regret it. The words echoed in her mind, the weight behind them hanging like a black cloud. The park. A place that once held so many memories, good and bad. And perhaps, just maybe, this could lead to something they both needed, a sense of closure. But another part of her screamed in protest. What if he just wanted to hurt her again? She took a breath, trying to steady herself, but all she could see was Mia's innocent face, illuminated by the glimmer of a volcano made of cardboard and paint. I'll think about it, she finally said, her voice wavering. Please, Sarah. Just don't take too long. The call ended, leaving a vacuum of silence that swallowed her whole. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she put the phone down on the table. She felt Jack's gaze penetrate her thoughts. What did he say? He asked. Sarah struggled to find the words. He wants to meet about Mia, but I don't know if I can trust him. Rachel reached out, placing a hand gently on Sarah's forearm. You're the only one who can decide what's best for her. But you also have to protect yourself. Mom? Mia tugged at her sleeve, still full of excitement from their earlier brainstorming. The innocence in her eyes cut through Sarah's turmoil, bringing her back to the surface where hope swirled among the fear. Cancel your plans for tonight, sweetheart, she said, forcing a smile as she searched for her next words. There's something I need to take care of. Mia nodded, her trust unwavering, completely unaware of the storm brewing. Sarah's heart sank. Could she keep her daughter safe while confronting the past? She glanced at Jack, looking for reassurance, but he was deep in thought. Could he sense her struggle? Did he understand what this might mean for her? Mia, she started, but the words got trapped in her throat. Are you okay? Mia's voice, so innocent, brought fresh guilt crashing over her like a wave. How could she tell her daughter about Eric? About the person who had hurt them both? I'm just figuring things out, she finally managed, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Mia smiled back, oblivious, yet there was a flicker of doubt in Rachel's eyes. As they sat in silence, Sarah's mind spiraled into possibilities. What was Eric planning? What truths might he reveal? The vulnerability surged through her once again like a tidal wave. Would this confrontation heal her wounds, or would it rip open old scars that threatened to consume her? And as the clock ticked quietly, marking the time until she had to face him, Sarah realized, she had a decision to make, not just for herself but for Mia too. Could she embrace this challenge and find the strength within her to confront the past? Or would it pull her down into a darkness she fought so hard to escape? The night was approaching, and with it, uncertainty loomed. Would she be ready to hear what Eric had to say, or would the shadows of their shared past be too heavy to bear? The day dragged on like molasses, each hour stretching painfully long. Sarah found herself continually glancing at the clock, her heart pounding each time the minute hand ticked away. Jack and Rachel had retreated into their own discussions, but their occasional sidelong glances told her they were just as on edge as she was. Mia busied herself with a drawing, her little fingers moving enthusiastically across the page, completely unaware of the tension gripping the room. Sarah watched her, feeling a bittersweet ache. Her daughter's innocence was a fragile thing that needed protecting, and here she was, preparing to plunge back into a world that had already nearly broken her once. Finally, the clock struck 6, and the sun began to dip beneath the horizon, painting the sky a bruised purple. "I need to go," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. The moment felt surreal as she grabbed her jacket, trying to ignore the sick feeling twisting in her stomach. "Mia, sweetie, I'll be back in a little while, okay?" she said, kneeling down to meet her daughter's gaze. "Can I come with you?" Mia asked, her voice laced with hope. It pierced through Sarah, and for a moment, she was tempted. The warmth of her daughter's hand made her want to stay, to shield her from the brewing storm. "No, honey. I need to handle something alone." The words felt heavy, each syllable a weight she had to carry. "But I'll be just a phone call away. Promise." Mia's face fell slightly, but she nodded. "Okay, Mom. Just be careful." As she walked out the door, the chill in the air matched the turmoil inside her. The park loomed ahead, the familiar path winding through shadows and memories. Memories that felt like shackles, binding her to a past she desperately wanted to shed. Each step felt laborious. The park grew closer, and with it, an unyielding sense of dread. What could Eric possibly want? What had been worth all the years of silence? She resisted the urge to turn back, to retreat into the safety of her home and her daughter's laughter. When she finally reached the old meeting spot, a weathered wooden bench beneath a sprawling oak, the sun had dipped below the horizon. The darkening sky set the stage laden with uncertainty. She took a deep breath, tasting the crisp air tinged with anxiety. Eric was already there, leaning against the trunk of the oak, the shadows of the branches wrapping around him like the memories they shared. He looked older, wearier, yet there was a flicker of the man she once knew. A jolt of emotion surged through her, but she quickly extinguished it. "Sarah," he said, moving forward, but she held her ground, her heart racing. "What do you want, Eric?" Her voice was tight, electric with tension. She fought to keep her emotions in check, battling the rise of old memories that clawed at her with fierce desperation. He stuffed his hands in his jeans, looking uncertain. I know we haven't talked in a long time, and I don't expect you to trust me. But there's something Mia needs to hear." Tension hung thick in the air, wrapping around them like a noose. What could you possibly tell her that she needs to know? You chose to walk away. I know, and I regret it every day. But this isn't about me. It's about her. His eyes bore into hers, remorse evident. "There are things happening with the family she deserves to understand. Things I didn't choose." The urgency in his voice was startling, and Sarah felt her composure start to crack. "You need to be more specific." He hesitated, glancing away for a moment, and when he looked back, something was different in his eyes. "You're not the only one who has been keeping secrets." The breath caught in her throat, a whirlwind of emotions threatening to spill over. What did he mean by that? What could possibly be unfolding now that had the potential to change everything? And suddenly, Sarah found herself standing at the edge of a precipice, unsure of how deep the waters below were. Would she leap into this unknown, risking everything for answers? Or was it safer to remain in the darkness of uncertainty? "Tell me," she demanded, her voice shaking with equal parts fear and resolve. As Eric took a step closer, the shadows deepened, and Sarah could tell that whatever he was about to reveal would change everything. Would it be the truth that would finally set her free, or another shackling lie? The night was filled with possibilities, but the weight of the moment pushed down on her like the darkness around them. Eric's gaze dropped to the ground, and for a second, the only sound was the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. Sarah's heart pounded like a drum, each beat echoing louder in the silence that enveloped them. He took a shaky breath, and she felt a surge of impatience. Why couldn't he just say what he needed to say? Mia deserves to know about her family, Eric finally said, his voice low, almost hesitant. About her grandfather. The way he said it hit her like a punch to the gut. What are you talking about? My father hasn't he been honest with you either, he interrupted sharply. The sudden edge in his tone surprised her, sparking anger within her. Things have happened in the past, things your dad never shared with you. They're all connected, and they affect Mia. A cold chill made its way down Sarah's spine. It was one thing to hear him talk about family, something she had built with love and care for her daughter. But to have it intertwined with secrets? You can't just drop this on me and expect me to believe it. I know it sounds crazy, he said quickly, raising his hands defensively. But trust me, Sarah. If you take a moment and listen, no, she said, cutting him off. No more half-truths. I need to know everything. He hesitated again, the weight of his own secrets weighing heavily on him as well. Your father, he was part of something bigger. Something that impacted people's lives. I thought you should be aware of the risks. Every fiber of Sarah's being was screaming to turn away, to retreat into her comfortable life with Mia. But was she doing her daughter a disservice by closing her eyes to the truth? What kind of risks? Eric took a deep breath, as if summoning the courage to continue. Listen, I don't have the details yet, but I think it's about the deal he made years ago, financial turmoils, family betrayals. It's all tied to a company that you and Mia might be more involved with than you realize. Every word he spoke sent her deeper into a whirlpool of confusion. The man she had known was unraveling into someone else, an informant, a messenger of buried truths. You expect me to just believe you? I know it's hard, but I've seen the repercussions. I don't want you to be blindsided when it all comes crashing down. She could see desperation in his expression, and for a brief moment, doubt flickered in her thoughts. Could he really be telling the truth? Could her father, the man who had raised her to be tough yet compassionate, be at the center of such deception? Why now? Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. Why say this now? Because I'm scared something is coming, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Something that could affect Mia and the life you've built. I didn't come here just to make amends. I came here to warn you because, in the end, I care about you both. Silence filled the air once again, heavy and thick with everything unsaid. In that moment, she felt a rush of memories and emotions flooding back, the laughter, the love, and the dreams shattered into pieces. Each memory felt intertwined with this new revelation, together forming a tapestry of her life, colorful yet tattered at the edges. Why didn't you tell me this years ago? Her words spilled out, raw and vulnerable. Fear, he admitted, eyes glistening. Fear of losing you. Fear of being the one to bring pain instead of understanding. In that moment, Sarah realized she was standing on a crumbling cliff, teetering over a dark abyss of revelations. With every breath, she considered the chasm below, terror and truth pulsing through her veins. As she gazed into Eric's eyes, a part of her was ready to step back, to refuse this impending chaos. But another part of her, one fueled by years of silence, screamed out for courage, for the answer that might finally set them free. Tell me everything, she demanded, breathless and resolute. Don't hold anything back. And as the deep shadows began to swallow the last light of the day, Sarah braced herself for the storm of truths that was about to unravel her world even more. Eric took a step back, the gravity of her demand hanging heavy in the air. The shadows stretched around them, amplifying the tension of that moment. The wind whispered through the trees, but all Sarah could hear was the thudding of her heart, the unsteady drumbeat matched only by her racing thoughts. "Okay," he said finally, his voice steadying, as if he had just made a momentous decision. "But you have to promise me to stay calm, no matter what I say." "Calm?" she echoed incredulously. "You just told me my life is built on lies, and you want me to be calm?" He rubbed the back of his neck, as if bracing himself against a storm. "Just hear me out. The truth can be harder to bear, but it's better than living a lie." "Fine," she relented, crossing her arms tightly against her body. "Start talking. My dad worked for a big corporation, one that had dealings with yours. But it wasn't all above board. Your father was involved in some shady financial activities back in the day. I'm talking about things like embezzlement and cover-ups. It got messy. People scared to speak up. And I think there are loose ends that still need tying." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. "You're saying my father might have done something illegal? What does that have to do with Mia?" "I don't know all the details," Eric continued, guilt etched across his features. "But I do know that whatever happened back then is now haunting your family. My father told me that people connected to these kinds of dealings don't just walk away. They have ways of ensuring silence." No, this can't be happening," Sarah stammered as she clasped her hands together, trying to stop the trembling. "This doesn't make sense. Why would he do something like that?" "Power and money can corrupt, Sarah. They can change people," he replied softly, his eyes intent on hers. "This isn't just about your father anymore. It's about Mia's safety. I worry that if anyone finds out she's connected to him," she burst out. "What do you mean? She's just a little girl." "I know. But what if the past comes crashing into her present?" "I need you to understand how serious this is," Eric insisted, stepping closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "There are people out there who might want to harm anyone tied to what your father was a part of. You can't keep Mia in the dark. She deserves to know what? That her grandfather might be a criminal?" Sarah shot back, her voice rising. "I'd rather shield her from this madness." "Shielding her might not be an option anymore," Eric said, his tone growing more urgent. "You have to prepare her for the truth, even if it's messy." A surge of anger mixed with fear coursed through Sarah. "And what about you? You're just going to walk into my world and drop a bomb like this? What's your stake in all this?" "My stake?" He hesitated, revealing a flicker of vulnerability. "Because I care about you. Because I've seen the effects of secrets unravel families. And I don't want that for you and Mia." The air hung heavy with the weight of their emotions, and Sarah felt a crack in her composure. She let out a slow breath, threading through the whirlwind of thoughts. Could she really face this complexity? Could she confront her father and unearth a truth that could destroy everything she cherished? "I didn't ask for this," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I just wanted to protect my little girl." Eric's gaze softened, the desperation replaced by a flicker of hope. "And that's exactly why you need to fight for the truth. You can't protect her by pretending everything's fine." As darkness enveloped them completely, Sarah felt the ground beneath her begin to shift. She was on the edge of something monumental, teetering between despair and determination. "Okay," she finally said, her voice steadied with resolve. "Let us find out what really happened." But deep inside her, a gnawing uncertainty stayed, leaving her questioning whether revealing the truth would bring peace or plunge them deeper into turmoil. What would be waiting at the end of this journey into her father's past? The answer loomed ahead, shrouded in shadows, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it was going to change everything. The wind sliced through the trees as Sarah stepped back into the reality awaiting her, her heartbeat echoing in her ears, each pulse laced with a mix of fear and resolve. The darkness around her both amplified and mirrored the storm brewing inside her. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Eric asked, his voice softer now, as if he understood the depth of the decision before them. In the dim light, Sarah could see the concern etched across his brow. This was more than just a conversation, it was a life-altering choice. Once the truth is out, there's no going back. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I can't live in shadows anymore, not for Mia's sake, not for mine. It's time to face this." The path to truth wouldn't just lead her further into her father's past. It held the power to unravel everything she had built, but living a lie felt like a shackle wrapped tightly around her heart. "All right," she said firmly, as her eyes met his in a silent agreement. "Where do we start?" Eric looked relieved yet pained at the same time. "We start with the people who were involved, the ones who know the truth about your father. They'll have leads we need." Fear gripped Sarah again, but she buried it deep. "Are they safe? This sounds dangerous." "We have to take the risk," he insisted, stepping closer. "For Mia." Their journey unbroken, they spent the next hours piecing together a fragile map of leads and whispered names. Unearthing layers of connections she never knew existed, Sarah felt the whir of the world shift around them, fuller and more complex than she'd ever imagined. As they spoke, Sarah's mind wrestled with her emotions. Questions piled high: was her father a villain? Had everything she thought about him crumbled like dust before her? Just before midnight, Sarah finally returned home, the door clicking quietly shut behind her. Mia was fast asleep, innocence embracing her. Sarah stood by the doorway, shadows fluttering across the walls. Those shadows felt heavier tonight than ever before. But she was resolute. "I'll protect you, Mia," she whispered softly, her heart pounding as if it could echo into the future. The clock ticked on, each minute a reminder of the choices still clinging to uncertainty. The next day, Sarah sat with Rachel over steaming cups of coffee. She shared the conversation with Eric, the urgency of the situation spilling over as her best friend listened intently, her expression a mix of concern and empathy. "I can't believe after all this time, you're facing it," Rachel said at last, reaching for Sarah's hand. "But you're brave. Just remember, you're not alone. You have me." "I'm terrified, Rachel," Sarah admitted, her heart a tangled ball of emotions. "What if this destroys everything? What if I lose Mia?" Rachel squeezed her hand. "You won tea. You're not a failure for wanting answers. Seeking the truth is not a weakness, it's strength, and you have that in abundance." Inspired by Rachel's belief, Sarah prepared to gather her courage. She had a plan: it was time to confront her father. The meeting was tense, set for that weekend in the same park where she confronted Eric. Sarah's anxiety twisted tightly in her stomach as she approached the familiar wooden bench, memories flooding back: the laughter, the fights, and the love. "Sarah," her father said, rising from the bench as she approached. The familiar face etched itself with years of worry. "Dad," she breathed, her heart racing, the words washing over her like a torrent. "I need answers. About everything." "Everything?" He looked bewildered. "Yes. About your past. Eric told me things you never spoke of. Why would you hide it? Why would you let Mia get pulled into this?" He paused, a mix of emotions flashing across his face. "You don't understand, I did it to protect you." "Protect me?" She echoed, disbelief rising. "You kept me in the dark, thinking it was for my sake, but it isn't just about me anymore. It's about Mia." Tension crackled in the air, and for a moment, silence reigned. Then her father's shoulders slumped in defeat. "I never meant for this to haunt you both." Sarah felt the weight of his guilt hovering around them. "Then it's time to tell me everything," she said, locking eyes with him. "No more secrets." The truth, heavy and long buried, spilled from her father like ink on a page. He spoke of shady deals, corporate greed, and unsavory connections that twisted around their family like barbed vines. As he shared his past, shadows faded, and clarity emerged. Sarah listened, rapt, as the pieces of a puzzle began to fit together. "It's not just your story, it's mine and Mia's too," she finally interjected. "We deserve to know who we are." After hours of conversation that uncovered scars and sorrows, something shifted in Sarah. She felt lighter, as though lifting the veil had freed her from the weight of uncertainty. "Well, what now?" her father asked finally, tentatively looking toward the future. The path was unclear for them both, the road divided with uncertainties. "I don't know," Sarah admitted honestly. "But we'll figure it out together. Mia's well-being is my priority. It always has been." Returning home that night, Sarah hugged Mia tightly, as if squeezing the love into every moment shared. "You're safe," she whispered silently, feeling the warmth of her daughter's body against her heart. In that moment, a kind of peace filled the air, a promise between them, both broken and bold. And as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Sarah understood, sometimes, the hardest truths are the ones that lead you to the most profound transformations. Together, they were constructing a bridge of honesty, healing, and hope. As she sat in the dim glow of the night, a new thought flickered within her, bright and electric possibilities unfurling like the dawn of a new day. This was just the beginning. If you want to be part of this ever-evolving journey, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional revelation. And for those who need to witness transformational tales, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends. Don't wait not even one more second to share. It's time to spread the power of truth and love.